Hey everybody, what is going on? My name is Patrick, welcome to the Whiskey Cove. And as you can see, we are at Costco. And we are here to ask the question, what whiskey does Costco have hiding right now? So we'd like to come to Costco. It's been a while since we've done this video. What am I hoping to find? Maybe something special, but maybe a good store pick. Let's go in, see the prices, see the selection, and let's see if we can find something really special. Run the video. So here we are, folks. We are now in Costco. And as you can see, this is mostly where they keep their whiskey here at Costco. And for anybody who wants to know, we are at the Colorado Thornton location. Most of the whiskey's on the right and you have some on the left. So let's go ahead, get some close-ups and see exactly what they have here. So first off, you can see that they have some Japanese whiskey here. They have the classic Hambiki Suntory whiskey for $83, but they also have Nika whiskey from the barrel. If you're someone who likes Japanese whiskey but you prefer it to have a little more bite, this Nika whiskey from the barrel has a 51.4% ABV, so again a little bit more bite, and that price up there, $54.99, is an incredible deal on that stuff. They also have some of the Kirkland kind of Baileys, if you like, for $17 for a huge bottle. And they have some really big bottles of Irish whiskey, Jameson's, the 1.75 litres for $42.69. That's an incredible deal. But if I'm going to drink Irish whiskey, I'm not going to drink that. I'm going to reach for this, the Redbreast 12, aged 12 years. So this is triple distilled and matured in the finest of oak casks from Ireland. And for $56.79, that is an absolute steal. I've talked about this quite a lot on the channel. If you're going to drink Irish whiskey, you don't mind spending a little bit of money like that, this is absolutely the one you want to get. It's a phenomenal bottle. It is pot stilled, so you're going to get some really nice fruit and oak characteristics in there, but maybe a little bit of spice there too. Really great bottle. And going from one fantastic whiskey to one not so good whatsoever. And this is the Traveller blended whiskey, blend number 40. What does that mean? Well, it tells me that they went through 40 different blends to be able to come up with this one. 45% ABV or 90 proof. $30 is what that's going to cost. Personally, I wouldn't get that. I probably would get this Irish whiskey down here instead. Even though that it's not a bourbon, that's not a bourbon too. This is more of an American whiskey. Kind of tastes like Canadian bottom shelf whiskey, truth be told. It doesn't say on the back where it's distilled. It just says proudly bottled and blended by Buffalo Trace, Frankfort, Kentucky, because I think there is Canadian juice in this too. So I'm told. That's what a lot of people say online. For $30, yes, that's a good price for this bottle, but I would absolutely skip that one. And then that's again the 1.75 litres of the Irish whiskey. So $42.69 is what it's going to cost if you want Jameson's, but $28.79. I don't know what this is like, but is the price difference going to be worth it for you? Maybe. I think that's what Costco is all about, right? These Kirkland whiskies is supposed to stack up pretty well to the counterparts there. They have the 1.75 litre tin cups as well. This is supposed to be a Colorado whiskey, but what it really is MGP juice brought to Colorado and then cut with Rocky Mountain water, which, you know, you can kind of get that from the tap around here because all the water in Denver comes from the Rocky Mountains. $41.99, that's a good price. A good fun camping whiskey, I guess. Stranahan's, owned by the same company, is $44. Probably the best shelf findable single malt you can find in the whole of the US. American single malt, that is. Personally, not a big fan of American single malt, but if I'm going to reach for it, I'm going to reach for Stranahan's. 47% ABV or 94 proof. They've been doing it just about as long as anybody else here in the States, and it's bearable for me. It's not grainy, it's more sweeter, it's more bourbon-esque, and that's kind of why I like that. They also have the Blackberry Crown Royal. I remember, what was it, this time last year that people were going nuts for this stuff. $22, you can get a good bottle here at Costco. And you can also get a 1.75 litre Crown Royal for $43, but then they also have the Kirkland version for $18.99. Still 1.75 litre here, exactly the same. How does it taste? Maybe someone can let us know down in the comments. Is it worth paying over double for that? And I did see a really good price on a bottle of whiskey here, and it's this. So I think Jack Daniel's Sinatra Select is generally overrated anyway. However, you're looking to pay like, what, $200 for this guy? I don't think it's worth $200. It's kind of like a toasted or double oaked whiskey in my opinion. It is a 1 litre bottle, 45% ABV or 90 proof. Usually you're going to see it for $150 plus, maybe even $200. Here at Costco, $139. That's a great price for this bottle. It's a fun bottle. If you're really like a Jack Daniel's connoisseur, it's a bottle that you probably should get. If you like Sinatra, heck, you know, put on some Sinatra, pour a glass of the whiskey, and just enjoy yourself there too. I've had this Angel's Envy rye for quite a while. Usually this is like a $100 bottle. It's rye whiskey finished in Caribbean rum casks, 50% ABV or 100 proof. Like I said, usually around $100, $73. I don't think I've ever seen this whiskey cheaper than that. I still don't think it's kind of worth it for $73. That's my humble opinion. I've tried it once. Maybe I'm not qualified to give my opinion on it, but like I said, they've had it for a while and they still have pretty heavy stock here. Another bottle that I would probably pass on is the Whistle Pig Farm Stock Rye, the bespoke batch, 43% ABV or 86 proof for $60. You know, I'm not a big fan of these like adjunct Whistle Pig bottles. I think like this one, like the Camping one, I think they're just pretty generic, pretty basic, and I don't really get much fun from them, so I would probably take a pass from that. It says from Vermont, but let's have a little look at the back. They have some Canadian juice in there if we just focus up here. Canadian rye makes up the second most, so they're bringing most of their own stuff online now, so it probably tastes a little better than some of the stuff years gone by from Canada. But again, a bit of a blend, different char levels, and again, $60 I would probably pass on that. And then next door they have Bullet Rye, the 1.75 liters. This is something that like all Costco's seem to carry everywhere. $46. This is just a mixer in my opinion. Cheap, inexpensive mixer for 45% ABV and 90 proof, so it's not terrible. I do think there's probably better rye mixers out there, but if you're a fan of Bullet Rye, $46 is a great price for that. They also have some regular Jack Daniel's 1.75s, but they also have some black Jack Daniel's. So I've never seen this at Costco before, but a fake Jack Daniel's. I mean, if you like this stuff for $25, that could be a real steal compared to this. I would pass on the regular Jack Daniel's. They make some really good stuff. I don't believe the old number 7 is that though. They also have Basil Hayden bourbons for $32. Yes, it is 80 proof, 40% ABV. I like this whiskey as something. If you're just getting into drinking whiskey neat, I think this has a place for that. I think if you're more of a seasoned whiskey drinker, you're probably going to pass on this guy. They have some Michter's unblended American whiskey, 41.7% or 83.4 proof for $38, which is a great price. I like this better than the US Bourbon #1. That's my opinion. Other people like the Bourbon better, but I think this is the more premium whiskey in my humble opinion. This is the 25 release there, so that's a really, really great price. As you can see, in 2024, it was the most admired whiskey in the world. What does that mean? I have no idea. Then moving on, we also have a Blade and Bow. Comes with the key, and if you don't know, you can kind of collect these keys. They have numbers on them. I think it's like 1 through 5 where you can turn them in at the distillery there, at the Stitzelwell distillery. That distillery has so much history there in Kentucky, and for $38, that's as cheap as you'll ever see these, especially nowadays. I feel like they were that price like 5 years ago, so definitely pick that up for this one. They also have this really interesting Bullet Whiskey Sour cocktail. Whiskey Sour is probably my favorite cocktail. Best enjoyed shaken over ice, 25% ABV. That's a little light for me personally. And for $20, I'd rather make my own. And maybe I can make my own with this stuff, the Russell's 10 for $37.99, 45% ABV or 90 proof. That's a phenomenal bottle of whiskey for that price tag. I really like this. This is just a really good aged turkey bourbon that has a lot of spice, real bourbon characteristics there too. And one of the newer players on the market is the Smoke Eye Barrel Proof, aged 5 years from beautiful Colorado. It's a very unique mash bill. The MGP specifically distills for these folks, the Blue Corn Mash Bill, and for $69, that's an absolute steal for these two. I have one at home. I thought it was just okay. There are good batches and there are just some okay batches. As you can see, they have plenty here in stock, and that's probably one of the more harder bottles that you can find to get here today at Costco. And again, they have the 1.75 liter, but this is the regular bourbon edition from Bullet. Again, you know, a good mixer and a great price. This is a local whiskey here in Colorado from Colorado Springs, 46% ABV or 92 proof. They've also had this for a while, you know, but it's a good local offering for $32. You know, it's definitely worth the stab. It has a pretty good color on it as well, and it's local stuff, so I don't hate that at all. Axanoka, pretty well known here in Colorado for, like I said, $32. That's a really great steal. The 1.75 liter Jim Beam white labels, that's a great price for that. Or maybe you want the Four Roses 1.75 for $37, so we're going up a little bit in price here. And then they also have the 1.75s, and this is the one that I'll get, or would get. That's the Knob Creek 9 here, 100 proof for 50% ABV, $53 for that size. That's insane value for money. But if you want something with a little bit more proof, with the same age, you can have this Knob Creek Single Barrel Reserve 9 year for 120 proof for $47. Obviously, that's a lot more per size or per ounce than this one, but this is the proof. It's a little bit of a better whiskey as well, like hand-picked single barrel. So you're going to get a little bit better quality with these, in my humble opinion. But if you want something different that is still a single barrel, then get this Four Roses. This is Warehouse SN, barrel 14-5K here. Notes of rye, spice, apricot, pear, cinnamon, and toasted oak. And this is going to set you back $39, and that's a great price from that. We have a lot of Four Roses fans on the channel, and they would tell you that's a great whiskey for that price. Another 1.75 liter. We have this Breckenridge. This is a blend of whiskey, and then it's kind of cut with Rocky Mountain water. So yes, they do distill their own stuff, Breckenridge do, but they also source their own stuff. It says produced and bottled by Breckenridge Distillery. It doesn't say on this bottle, but I can almost guarantee you that some of the stuff in here is sourced as well, just to keep up with the demand. Some really awesome bottles here, side by side. We have $54 on the Old Forester 1920, and then we have $50 or so on the 1910. This is double barrel, like a toasted whiskey. If you're wondering why my hands are so dirty, I had a blowout on the way here and I had to change a tire. 1920 is a little bit more bite, a little bit more heat, a little bit more ABV. That's a really great whiskey to put into a cocktail, to drink neat. This is a really fun one. I would say you only should drink that neat. Really tasty dessert, sweet forward whiskey, but again, great prices for those at Costco. Sticking with the bigger size bottles, we have the Elijah Craig for $47 for the small batch. We have the 1 liter Kirkland bottled in bond. Not so good whiskey, not my favorite whiskey at all. This is distilled by Barton down in Bardstown, Kentucky. You do get a 1 liter bottle, and it is bottled in bond for $24. So it's a good price, but everybody who I know who's tried it are not great fans at all. I do talk a little bit about that. If you're trying to find Heaven Hill 7 bottled in bond, go to Costco, because they always seem to have it, and they always seem to have it for that great price of $42.49, which is a phenomenal bottle of whiskey, 7 years old, very versatile, super tasty. They did a great job with that. Some more Angel's Envy, but this time this is the bourbon finished in port wine barrels for $44. That's about the price that a lot of Angel's Envy should be, but they end up being like $100 or so, or plus. They also have a Penelope pick here, their private batch, I should say. This is the barrel strength straight bourbon whiskey, the classic Penelope barrel strength private batch, 57% ABV, 114 proof. Penelope make a lot of good stuff, but me personally, I don't like that one as much. I'd rather get some of their better finished whiskey instead. Like the Rio is definitely one that I really like, and the Architect, which is finished in French oak barrels. They also have some Larceny barrel proof wheated bourbon. This is the A125 batch, 62.5% ABV. So I do like Larceny, I do like wheated bourbon. A lot of these batches are good, but I kind of like the C and B batches. I don't know why. They just seem to really hit my palate really well. and for that price, $55.99, that's an incredible price. I had the C924 last year, and I got it from Costco, and I paid right around that same price for it as well. Very good bottle. That makes a really great old-fashioned, and like I said, I really like wheated bourbon, so that's obviously a buy. Sticking with wheated bourbons, they have the 1.75 Maker's Mark here, a big old bottle. A really nice looking bottle. I think they do obviously a really great job with the packaging, the labeling, and the whiskey inside is also equally as good. For 42 bucks, yeah, we'll do that every time. We have 291 Distiller Select Barrel Proof. This is also from the Colorado Springs area. This is a Colorado bourbon whiskey finished with aspen wood staves. Good ABV on that, 65.2% ABV or 130.4 proof. It can come across a little funky. But for $69, it might be worth a try. If you're someone who likes that kind of yeasty funkiness of craft whiskey, you're gonna get that with this one. But for me, we have batch 8, they have batch 9, so there's a little bit of ABV difference. And proof 130.7, 130.4 proof. Like I said, I wouldn't buy it personally, but I think for 69 bucks, it might be worth a stab for those who are looking to buy local and enjoy craft whiskey. We also have Woodford Reserve Distiller Select. Again, this is the 1.75 litre bottle. Pretty cool to see one of these bottles in such a big size. Get that ready for Kentucky Derby month, right? For $60, that's a phenomenal price. There's not much around here that can beat these prices at Costco's, right? These 1.75s. And staying with Woodford, they probably have maybe, I would say, the most allocated bottle at this store right now is this. This is the Woodford Reserve Batch Proof. This is coming in at 59.75% ABV or 119.5 proof. It is, however, a 700 milliliter bottle produced by the Woodford Reserve Distillery in Versailles, Kentucky. If you've ever had a chance to go to this distillery, it's a beautiful distillery, lovely stone building on your way there, beautiful rolling hills. However, I think that's a little pricey for you again, $116. Yes, that's a great price for these bottles because most stores you'll see them run to like 150 bucks. But I think that the whole kind of lineup of these special release bottles are just about 30-40% overvalued, and which is why you see these kind of sitting around here quite a lot in Costco. So I will personally pass on that. Maybe if there's a batch proof that'll come out one year and people will say you have to get it, then maybe I'll spend that sort of money. But for me, that's a little too much. We also have the 1.75 Willet Pot Still Reserve for $95. This is a bottle that people love to hate. I'm not going to buy it because I hate bottles that take up such big space on my shelf. But if you don't have many bottles and you're looking for something that kind of stands out, that might be the one for you. And it does make a really cool infinity bottle there, 47% ABV or 94 proof. And we are out, folks. So all in all, really, a lot of good whiskey there. The Woodford Reserve, I'm sure that's very good for the price. It's a phenomenal price for that bottle, but for me, I'm not going to be paying that much. The Jack Daniel's Sinatra Select was, again, an excellent price too. We sold a lot of 1.75 liters, and they were priced very, very well. So if I want to go and get maybe some mixers, maybe some good quality whiskey that I want to have a lot of, then I think Costco's the place for that. The Heaven Hill 7 Year, which is a great sipper too, and a bunch of other stuff. Probably my picks will probably be the Old Forester 1910, 1920, the Four Roses Single Barrel, and then the Knob Creek 9-year 120 proofer. All excellent value for money, and at those prices, pretty insane. But we didn't find anything crazy that we didn't pick up. However, we went shopping for a bunch of groceries for the wife and the family there, so it was not a wasted visit. And I love going to Costco. Thanks to those folks for being cool about me filming too. And if you don't already know, we're doing a 10,000 subscriber giveaway. We're also close to hitting that margin. There's a subscriber only event, so make sure you get your ticket in and you are a subscriber there too. As we see on the channels, we drink through the world's whiskeys one glass at a time. Cheers.